This is homework 7.1, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Inspire calculator to do some of the steps. We have to determine whether triangle XYZ is scalene. Remember, scalene, we have no sides that are congruent. Isosceles, we have two sides that are congruent. And then equilateral means three sides are congruent. So the question is, how do we know what type of triangle it is? You have to find the distance of each triangle, or the distance of each measurement of the side of the triangle. So I'm going to label my order pairs. So this is 0, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is 4, comma, -2. And this is -3, -1. So I'm going to find the distance. So we have 3 minus 3 minus a -1 squared plus 0 minus -3 squared. So that's going to be the distance from x to z. So once again, we have 3 minus a -1 and then squared. And then we have 0 minus a -3 and squared. So let's go ahead and type this into the calculator. So I already have the distance there from z to x. I got 5. We're going to find the distance now from x to y. So we're going to have square root, parentheses, -2 minus 3 squared plus 4 minus 0 squared. So this was 5. We're going to figure out the distance from x to y. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to round it off to the nearest tenth. So I typed it into the calculator, so I got 6.4. And the last distance will be from z to y. So I'm going to say d equals the square root, and this is 6.4. So we have parentheses -2 minus -3 squared plus parentheses 4 minus -1 squared. And I'm going to go ahead and figure that out using my calculator. Okay, the distance I got was 5.1. So I'm going to say that each of the distance or the lengths of the triangle were all different. So I'm going to say that this triangle is scalene. Why is it scalene? Because all the side measurements are different. Determine whether the quadrilateral is a parallelogram, a rhombus, a rectangle, square, or none of these. I'm going to do number 4. To me, it appears it's a square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the slope of each of these side measurements, of these segments. So if you're going to write this down, write down slope. Slope of C to D, which is rise over run. So this is rise over run. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 over 2. And that slope is negative. This slope, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. So the slope of BE is 4 over 2. It's negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's negative. So that tells me that these two lines, segments, are parallel. Now I'm going to find the slope for CB. And I want you to notice that you go up or you go down 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2 over 4. And then you're going to find the slope of DE, which is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the reason why we found slope is we wanted to make sure that if it's a square, there definitely has to be a parallelogram, and this is a parallelogram. Now, something that you notice here, this is negative 4 over 2, this is 2 over 4. These are opposite reciprocals, so these two sets of lines and these two sets of lines are perpendicular. So if the two sets of lines are perpendicular to each other, that means that these are 90-degree angles. So definitely I know that this parallelogram has 4 right angles. This has 4 right angles. Now we just got to find the distance from here to here, the distance from here to here, and then the distance from here to here, and then the distance from here to here. Okay. So we're going to find the distance. I want you to notice something. We can make a right triangle here. 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 So that means that we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So if this is 2 and this is 4, if this is 4 and this is 2, if this is 2 and this is 4, and if this is 2, measurement of 2, and this is 4, then I have 4 right triangles that have the same leg and the same legs. So therefore, all these have to be congruent. So consequently, it is a square because all the sides are congruent. And let me repeat again. I can create a right triangle here. I can create a right triangle here. I can create a right triangle here. And I can create a right triangle here. And you notice all these right triangles have a length of 2 and have a length of 4, or legs of 2 and 4. We have a leg of 2 and 4. We have a leg of 2 and 4. We have a leg of 4 and 2. So you notice that the hypotenuse are all going to be the same. So they're all going to be congruent. So number 4 is a square. For number 5, it says determine the most precise name of each quadrilateral. What I did is I went ahead and I graphed A, B, C, and D. My conclusion is it's a parallelogram. You notice that AD is parallel to BC. They will never intersect. AB and DC, AB and DC have the same slope. It's going to be negative 3 over 4. Number 7, I'm going to go ahead and use the Inspire calculator. So I'm going to go to Menu, On. I'm going to go to the Geometry tab, Menu, Actions, or View, Graphing. Let me fix this. Geometry, Menu, Actions, so there's my graph. I'm going to go ahead and graph. I'm going to construct all these points. I'm going to use segments. So Menu, Geometry, Points, Lines, and I'm going to use segments. So I have 3, 4. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3, 4. 8, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. So that's 8, 1. 2, negative 9. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then negative 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, unless I did this wrong, it appears that it might not be any of these shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and check my work again. So I have 1, 2, 3. So that should be 3, 4, 8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and label my points. Menu, geometry, view, action, coordinates. So that point. Right there, that's 3, 4. This was 8, 1. This was, okay, so that one's 2, that should have been 2, negative 9. No, that one's right, negative 3, negative 6, okay. And then this one should have been 2, negative 9. So let me delete this here. Delete that. Delete this. And I'm going to construct menu, geometry. It appears to me it's a rectangle. It appears to be a rectangle, so we definitely want to prove that it's a parallelogram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope here between 3, 4, and negative 3, negative 6, 8, 1, and 2, negative 9. So let me find the slope, geometry, measurement, slope. So the slope is 1.6, the slope is 1.6. So the lines are parallel. The slope here is negative 0.6. Okay, so it is a parallelogram. Now the only thing is 1.666 opposite reciprocal of 0.66, and I think it is. So these would be perpendicular. So it is a rectangle.